I've always loved the idea of solitude in the woods, a chance to unplug from everything, to breathe, to think. That's why, when my old college buddy Sam called me one weekend and said he'd found the perfect spot to get away, I didn't hesitate. He'd rented a cabin deep in the Blue Ridge Mountains, a place he'd found online. It looked rustic but solid, surrounded by thick woods, with a single dirt road winding down to it. The pictures showed a small front porch, a fireplace, and a trail behind it that disappeared into the trees. It was supposed to be a dream weekend, a place to relax, hike, and catch up. We got there late Friday afternoon. Sam drove, and I kept the directions on my phone. But the further we got, the worse the signal became. By the time we pulled up to the cabin, there was no signal at all, no bars, no data. It felt like the world had dropped away. The cabin looked just like the pictures, maybe a little older. The wood was weathered, the porch sagged in one corner, and there was a strange smell in the air, like damp earth mixed with old wood smoke. Still, it was cozy enough inside. 2 bedrooms, a small kitchen, a fireplace that looked like it had seen better days. That first evening was normal, almost peaceful. Sam built a fire, and we cooked canned chili and drank a couple beers. The forest around us felt alive with the sounds of night, crickets, frogs, and the wind sighing through the trees. After dinner, we sat on the porch, talking and staring at the darkness beyond the trees. Sam was always the braver one, the one who'd hike miles off trail just for fun. Me? I liked the idea of adventure more than the reality. He joked that night that we should follow the trail behind the cabin. The next day, said it led to an old lookout tower a couple miles uphill. I agreed, half listening, but my eyes kept darting to the woods. Every now and then, I thought I saw a flicker of movement. Just shadows, I told myself. We turned in early, both exhausted from the drive. I fell asleep quickly, but at some point in the night, I woke up. It was pitch black, the kind of darkness that feels like a wall pressing in on you. The wind had died, and the woods were silent. No frogs, no crickets, nothing. I lay there, listening, feeling the stillness like a weight on my chest. Then I heard it. Footsteps outside, soft but deliberate. I held my breath, waiting, telling myself it was probably an animal. A deer, maybe, or a raccoon. But the footsteps sounded too heavy, too measured. They circled the cabin slowly, moving from one window to the next. I could hear them crunching on the gravel, then on the wooden steps. I didn't dare look. I just lay there, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling. Eventually, the footsteps faded. I must have drifted off, because when I woke again, the sun was just breaking through the trees. I stumbled into the kitchen where Sam was making coffee. He looked at me like I'd seen a ghost, so I told him what I'd heard. He laughed it off, said it was probably an animal. I wanted to believe him. After breakfast, Sam insisted we hike the trail behind the cabin. He said we'd be fine. He'd marked the trailhead with bright orange ribbon on the trees, just in case. I agreed, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The trail was narrow, winding through thick pines and oaks. The forest was quiet, almost too quiet, and the deeper we went, the less I could hear anything at all. No birds, no wind. It felt like the woods were holding their breath. I kept glancing at the orange ribbons Sam had tied. They were there, all right, but some of them looked different, like they'd been retied or replaced. The knots too neat, the cloth too new. I didn't say anything at first. Maybe Sam had come out earlier and redone them. But something about it felt wrong. At one point, I noticed a new marker, a red one, tied just ahead of us, pointing to a smaller side path that seemed to curve off the main trail. Sam saw it too and paused. "Did you tie that one?" I asked. He shook his head. "Nope, that's not mine," he said, frowning. We both stared at it. I could see the confusion in his face, but he tried to laugh it off again. Said maybe someone else had used the trail before us. But deep down, I knew nobody else was supposed to be out here. We kept going, following the orange markers, but every so often, I'd see a flash of red or even white ribbon tied to a tree in the distance, almost like breadcrumbs left by someone who wanted us to follow. After about an hour, I realized something terrifying. The trail looked exactly the same as it had half an hour before. I mean, exactly the same. The same twisted tree, the same fallen log, the same patch of moss. I stopped in my tracks. "Sam," I said, my voice shaking, "I think we're going in circles." He turned around, his face pale. "No way," he said, but I could see the doubt creeping in. We decided to backtrack, but every time we tried to follow the trail back, the markers seemed to disappear. The orange ribbons were gone, replaced by the same red ones we'd seen before. My chest tightened. I felt like the forest was closing in on us. Hours passed, maybe 3, maybe 4. The sun was starting to dip behind the trees, and the shadows grew long and cold. Every now and then, I'd hear movement, sticks breaking, leaves crunching, but when I turned, there was nothing there. Sam tried to keep us calm, but even he couldn't hide the panic in his eyes. Then, as the last light was fading, I saw something ahead. A small wooden cabin. My heart leapt. Maybe we'd found our way back, but as we got closer, I felt a sick feeling in my gut. The cabin was identical to the one we'd left that morning. Same sagging porch, same smell of damp earth. It was our cabin. We ran up the steps and burst through the door, slamming it shut behind us. Sam locked it, then checked every window. Everything was the same. Our bags, our gear, the half-empty coffee pot. I felt like I was going to be sick. We were back where we started, but something wasn't right. The air felt heavy, charged with something I couldn't name. That's when I saw it. On the table by the window, a small piece of orange ribbon, neatly tied, but stained with something dark. Sam picked it up, his hands trembling. "This wasn't here before," he whispered. Then the footsteps started again, slow, deliberate, circling the cabin. My breath caught in my throat. Sam grabbed the fireplace poker, and I clutched a kitchen knife. The footsteps moved from window to window, stopping just outside each one. I couldn't see anything, but I could feel it. Like something was watching, waiting for us to open the door. I tried calling 911, but my phone was dead. Sam's phone too. We were trapped. The footsteps stopped. Silence pressed in. Then, from the darkness beyond the window, a voice. A low, guttural whisper that made my skin crawl. It said only one word. "Leave." Sam and I looked at each other, both pale as ghosts. "We have to go," he said, his voice breaking. I nodded. We grabbed our bags and eased the door open. The forest beyond was black, the trees tall and silent. We stepped outside, moving slowly, listening for any sound. Every step felt like it echoed for miles. We didn't bother with the trail. We just ran, stumbling over roots and rocks, branches tearing at our clothes. I could feel something behind us, but I didn't dare look. We ran until we saw the faint glow of the dirt road where we'd parked. Sam's truck was still there. We jumped inside, locked the doors, and he turned the key. The engine sputtered, then roared to life. We didn't speak until we'd driven miles away, the forest fading behind us. Only then did I look at Sam and ask the question that had been burning in my mind since we left the cabin. "Who do you think that was?" He didn't answer. He just stared straight ahead, his knuckles white on the steering wheel. The truth is, I don't think either of us really wanted to know. All I know is, I'll never go back to that place. I'll never trust a trail marker again. And I'll never forget the feeling of those footsteps in the night. Watching, waiting, making sure we'd never leave.